Guys, I really want you to get ready for an eye-opening conversation with the amazing Holly Smith. As you can see, this is Holly here, just around me. She's absolutely incredible. She's holding her own book as well. But today we're going to dive deep into what it truly means to choose happiness. I say the word choose on purpose, and that'll become very crystal clear when we get started. But in the episode, Holly shares the powerful journey that led her to understand how taking accountability for our lives can unlock lasting joy. She gives us a sneak peek into her book, 30 Days to Happiness. Definitely advise a must buy here. She's an amazing author where she reveals simple daily habits that anyone can adopt to create a more fulfilling life. We also explore how childhood experiences shape our beliefs, why morning routines matter. I love this part. And the life-changing benefits of shifting away from a victim mindset. Holly's wisdom on connection between emotional well-being. Also, another favorite part of mine is nutrition, and forgiveness is something you don't want to miss. We do talk about forgiveness. It's just an area I think, I'm still learning to work with too. I'm sure you are too as well in some areas of your life. But, whether you're struggling with chronic stress or simply looking to bring more happiness into your life, this conversation will definitely inspire you to take charge and design a life that you love. So stay tuned with Holly. She's doing her thing in her business. She's got loads of things going on. She will go into that also. But for the time being, please subscribe and follow on all the platforms. It really, really helps the channel out, and it helps my journey reach out to more people with their journeys too. So stay tuned for Holly, and we'll be right back after the very, very short intro. So don't go anywhere. Cheers. Welcome to Leading Our Own Way. I'm your host, Andrew White, and this is the podcast that unveils captivating narratives of resilience and personal triumph. This podcast is for anyone seeking inspiration and insights on overcoming life's challenges. Follow and subscribe, and then we can lead together forever. Holly, are you happy?
Yes, I'm really happy.
How?
Because every morning when I wake up, it's a choice. It's the same with love. Like every single day, you can choose to love your partner or your husband or your wife. I think it's exactly the same thing when it comes to being happy. Happiness is a choice. Yes, we can't control the things that happen to us or have happened to us in the past, but you can choose every single day to wake up with an attitude for gratitude or a positive attitude. You also have a choice to change your environment. You also have a choice to choose the thoughts that you want to believe. And you also have a choice to change your belief system. So I think with all these choices, it's part of freedom, I really believe. It's part of like a definition of freedom. So I just believe that every day you can choose to wake up happy, and it's a choice.
Yeah, I completely agree. But I suppose those who are stuck in the sticky middle, how did you get to this point? Have you always been like this?
No.
Have you always made this choice, or was there a journey that you went on to get to it?
Yeah, so I guess that's why I wrote my book, 30 Days to Happiness, and it's the habits that honestly pulled me out of the most unhappy place I've ever been in. And I grew up, I wasn't very happy. I was always goal-oriented, success-oriented, and that if I performed well, then I would be happy. If I got this, I would be happy. If I made money, I would be happy. And my definition of happiness came from succeeding. So on those times where I wasn't succeeding or my purpose was stripped away from me, I didn't know what to do next. And we can talk more about that, my story, but I think I didn't know how to choose happiness. But with the habits that are in my book, they're the 30 habits that pulled me out of a depression. They pulled me out of burnout, got so burnt out I couldn't walk at one stage. And I will choose to use those habits again and again. I like to use them as my first aid kit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And on your note of your book, I'm kind of glad you brought that. I was going to bring it in, but I do have it here. Thanks for sending it over to me. It's absolutely a stunning book. It only arrived 2 days, well, a day and a half ago. So I have scanned through it, and we will dive deep into it. And the more I got into I can't say reading it. I'll have to say scanning because it only arrived a few days ago. But I align with you so much on a lot of these habits, on all of them, in fact. However, there is a few that we will dive deep into,
Yeah.
and I absolutely I'll bring it back, but I'm going to put it there. I said to Holly before the show started that I'm allowing this one to cover my sign, which I don't normally allow. So,
I appreciate that.
of course, got to highlight the book. So happiness, yeah, it's an interesting one. I started off with the question with you asking if you're happy because I think that's really important to start with you on that scenario, on that story point. But I normally start off with how are you leading your own way? So let's just talk about you personally. And first of all, thanks for joining me on Leading Our Own Way, and thanks for joining me on my journey because it's I want this to be powerful for everybody. But how do you lead your own way today, then, Hol?
Yeah. So I guess leading my own way means designing my own life. That's kind of like my definition of leading my own way. Um, because I think, let's be honest, like the only time we're unhappy is when we don't meet our own expectations. So if we think about all those times where we wanted to succeed and we didn't, or we thought we would be here by the time we were 30 or making $1 million with the kids and house and you're nowhere close to that, then you become unhappy because you're not reaching your own, I guess, expectations of what you thought happiness was. So I think for me, anytime I do feel a little bit unhappy, like, yes, I'm always happy, but that's because I choose to wake up happy and implement the right habits. But it's impossible to be happy all the time. Like, you're going to have times of self-doubt or sadness or, fear. Like, you're just a human being, right? Like
Yeah.
I heard someone say yesterday, you're a soul having a human experience, and you're going to experience so many different emotions and feelings. But I think you get to choose what you do with them and how you choose to create your life, and living it by design and not by default, right? And what everyone's telling you to do. So anytime I feel unhappy, it's usually because I'm trying to meet someone else's expectations, or I think this is the right way, which is really not what I want. It's not in my heart to do. So that's why writing a list of everything that you do want and the vision that you have for your life for the next, 10, 50 years, and sticking that up on your wall, reading it on a daily basis, keeps you in alignment with creating that life that you want.
I mean, on that note, Hol, look,
TED Talk.
I've put my TEDx talk
Yep.
sign, and I keep it there because that's what I'm planning on to do. Right?
Mm.
I love the chat of discussion of happiness because people know I work in schools and we talk about emotions constantly, and we are in a society where we're trying to bring all this emotional states back into schools, which is great. I
Yeah.
do think we're getting it wrong, though. I think we talk about happiness as an emotion. However, I think it's more of a long-term state. I'm not saying I'm correct. I'm not a scientist nor a doctor, but I do believe happiness is more of a long-term state, and depression is the opposite side of happiness. See, I feel like modern society we've replaced happiness with pleasure. Pleasure being short-term, dopamine; happiness, long-term, serotonin. And I think I'm the happiest I've ever been. I'm earning less money than I was, but I'm happy. When my child annoys me or somebody upsets me or I get hurt in the game of basketball, I did my ankle. I was frustrated, I was angry, and I was sad, the moments of sadness. But I'm still happy in life. I just go through those other survival emotions, happiness, sadness, fear, guilt, whatever it may be. So I think my definition of happiness would be threefold: understanding your purpose, having satisfaction in your life, and enjoyment. With those together, I feel like it's the perfect mixture equation for happiness. Going back to the society point, do you think we've replaced happiness with pleasure?
Yes. I think, like, let's be honest, TikTok is a perfect example.
Yeah.
It's a great quick dopamine hit. I'm not going to lie, I've learnt lots of amazing things and been really inspired on TikTok. But I think you can pick and choose your pleasures in the right way.
Mm,
Um, I think as well that, again, like a lot of us search for meaning in other things, like without even realizing it. And not knowing that if we don't have a purpose and there's no reason to get up every day, that we're going to look for a purpose in other areas. If that's fulfillment in, winning and gambling, if that's fulfillment in, you know, feeling better from drinking alcohol every day, or, I'm not saying it's good or bad. It's more so thinking about what's the coping mechanism, which is a short-term fix for, again, like you said, happiness is a long-term thing, right? That you got to think about.
mm,
But I do believe, yeah, if there is no clear path for your next steps, and that's why accountability and resilience are such huge parts of internal happiness. Heaps of studies have been done. Obviously, they talk about connection, social, um, gratitude, but resilience was one of the top. Resilience and obviously purpose, but having a way forward. Now, the whole reason why I guess accountability is such a core value of mine is that because without that accountability and without someone saying, it's time to get up and get out of this depression, no one's coming to save you,
mm.
that you actually make a decision to change your life. It's the accountability to take ownership. That's what true accountability is. It's not about someone whipping someone saying, get up, let's go, or you're gonna be worthless. Like, accountability is about taking ownership of your situation and not blaming anyone else for your circumstances.
Yeah, it's actually become quite a bit of a victim mentality, hasn't it, over the years? I mean, I'm definitely guilty of that. I was looking for people to save me through my stuff. Have you ever felt like you've wanted to be saved by somebody else? Did you go through that as well?
Yeah, all through growing up, I was like, I'm gonna become an anorexic because I just want my parents to see that I'm hurting, or I'm gonna tell my mum that I'm gonna kill myself, or I'm going to just, you know, I don't know. I was a victim growing up, but then again, I look at it, and so were a few other family members, like my dad, for example. And I think with that mentality, always in the back of your head, it's a belief system that it's always somebody else's fault, and you're here because of this.
Mm,
Um, but in reality, it's not until you realize that everything that has happened has brought you to where you are now, and being grateful for those experiences of who you are, and everything that's actually happened. I think again, it's making a decision to change the person that you want to become. And I love thinking about 10 years from now, or actually not even 10 years. Let's think like the 80-year-old version of us. If they were looking above you, in the heavens, and they were looking at you right now, what would they tell you? That's like
yeah,
one of the questions. I would write that down and really just think about it. What would they tell you? Because you know deep down inside what the next step is. Everyone does. But we sometimes can't actually hear it because we haven't taken a moment to listen or ask ourselves, is this what I've been called to do? If you don't know, is this what I want? Do I have a good feeling towards this? Is this helping myself or humanity? You know, everyone's got a purpose if you believe it or not. And it's not about finding purpose, it's about listening. And you already know what your gifts are. You already know what you really love. If you don't love anything, you need to try more things.
yeah. Well, go and fail, right? Go and fail over and over again because you're always one step closer to finding that thing that is within you, right?
Mm,
If that makes sense.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So a little bit more on your book, because there are topics on there I do want to dive into, and I do want to talk about what you do professionally and even what you do personally as well to set yourself up for the day. Because I think, I do ask that question quite a lot to the guests because it seems to funnel in that direction.
Yeah.
With your book, it's obviously called 30 Days to Happiness. You break it up into daily habits, I suppose. What you talk about give us a sum up of some of the things you go. I've got some that I do want to go into, but for those who are just hearing us for the first time and meeting you for the first time, give us a bit of an overview of your book.
Yeah. So the 30 habits are the 30 habits that helped me and pulled me out of the depression when I was in my teenage years. I got really depressed, suicidal, didn't want to live, and just, yeah, my whole purpose, I was a horse rider. So, we moved off acreage. I rode horses my whole life. I used to train them, sell them. My goal was to go to the Olympics for show jumping. My whole life was revolved around my horses and being an equestrian rider. And when that was all stripped away from me, two of my horses passed away. We had to move acreage, and it was just a big mess. And I was left just feeling purposeless, as
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people feel when they lose a loved one or a core part of their life. And yeah, I just got really depressed. I didn't want to live anymore. And just one day I was done, and I prayed to God, and I was like, God, just, if you can just take away this pain, I'm over it. Just give me another, an outlook. And I woke up the next day with absolutely no suicidal thoughts. And he gave me this idea to write this book called 30 Days to Happiness, but I wasn't ready to write it yet. So a few years went on. I got burnt out in the real estate industry. I got so burnt out working these like 14, 16-hour days that I couldn't walk for 4 weeks because my whole body gave way, and a lot of things happened. But the thing is, these are the habits that pulled me out of depression, that pulled me out of burnout, and they keep helping me like a first aid kit. I can pick and choose which ones I want to use. I don't have to implement 30 habits every single day. You just pick the ones that resonate with you and you need at the time. But the whole idea is that they reconstruct your subconscious mind to wake up happy every single day, right? And you can choose to visualize your day before you get out of bed. You can choose to go for a white space walk and get some sun first thing in the morning. You can choose to say affirmations. You can choose to exercise. You can choose, like, you know how we're talking about choices?
Mm.
These habits give you choices and an actionable playbook to implement if you want to. But you do have to take action.
So, day one, what's day one to you? Give these people a bit of an insight to how the book starts. I know how it finishes. I love day 30. That's why I've already spoke about the definition of happiness. Your first two lines of day 30 really resonate to my 3 points that I made
Yeah,
earlier.
cool.
But day one, what's day one?
Yeah, so the first thing I ever get anyone to do is write their definition of happiness. So everyone's definition of happiness is going to be completely different, and that basically is going to be based off your belief system, what you believed growing up, what you think real happiness is. And that's something I ask on my podcast is, you know, what's your definition of happiness? That's like my last question.
And I
And
gave you mine.
yeah, yeah, that's exactly right. And I love it because everyone's got a completely different definition. So
Yeah.
that's the first thing. The second thing is carving out time for you. A lot of people don't realize that they're constantly giving to everyone else, especially mothers and fathers and, carers. We're constantly giving, right? And it's not until we realize we become so unhappy because we haven't actually given any time for us and ourselves. So if you can carve out time for yourself, I teach you how to do that. And, go get a massage once a month, go to the gym on a few days a week, listen to an
Yeah.
audio book on your walk, or just do something for you that you really enjoy. Start having fun again. Go do the things that bring you joy. All right. And yeah, that's the first step. The second step is all about, I believe, affirmations. I think actually maybe that's day 3.
Yeah. Day two is the hour of power.
Hour of power that leads into, I guess, the affirmation. So the hour of power is
Yes.
pretty much like your morning routine in a way. So if you set yourself up first thing in the morning, the first hour, you got to remember the first time you wake up in the morning, whatever comes into your mind or your thought process is generally how you're going to set yourself up for the rest of the day. So back when I was a teenager, there used to be a dog next door at a house, the house I was at, and it used to just bark and wake all of us up, and I just get frustrated, and I'd be like, this is so annoying, and then it'd be a chain reaction, or then I'd spill my coffee everywhere, and then I'd be angry, and then I was just vibrating on a low frequency and just everything just kept stemming into a bad day. So you don't want that to happen. And I think you've got to really listen to yourself. Another example happened to me a few months ago where I was just, I don't know what happened. And I knew deep down inside, I didn't listen. I knew I needed to just rest and take a break. And I didn't. I got up, went to the gym, did my grocery shop, blah, blah, blah. And it was just a nightmare. I did 10 minutes into my workout, and Jasmine, who was in creche, the kids' childminding, she lost it, was teething. I had to go pick her up. And then I got like this protein shake. It spilled everywhere, all over the car, all over me. And then I went through a red light, and it just kept getting worse, 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 worse. So that is why the hour of power is so important. If I set myself up properly that day, tuned in with myself, probably I would have made different decisions. So the hour of power is about, okay, well, visualize your day before you even get out of bed in the morning. That's just like, there's so many things you can do, but this is just what I really love. If you
Mm.
lay down in bed, visualize what every hour of the day looks like before you even get out of bed. If you can do it just before, like after you wake up, you're in that theta state, which means you're more receptive for your brain to receive these images in your head to actually make them and turn them into reality for your belief system. And yeah, so you can visualize every hour of the day and how you want to feel, you what you're going to lift at the gym, what it's going to look like when you know jump on this podcast, and what are you going to feel, how are you going to feel, what's it going to look like, what opportunities came into your life, who do you meet. You can visualize all of this. And I've been doing this for so long now that, and so have my clients, every time that we don't do this, our day isn't as productive. We don't manifest these awesome opportunities, and we just have such an amazing, happy day. So that's the first thing you can do. You can also do like gratitude exercises, like, write 10 things down you're grateful for, write down your want, write down everything that you want every single morning. If you do that, again, you're more receptive to manifesting what is actually on that piece of paper, because there is a magnet in your brain which will guide you to whatever that want is. Example, if you want a yellow car, you'll find that you'll start seeing more yellow cars on that road more than ever before. And it's exactly the same with your want list. Sending out a few messages, telling people that you're grateful for them, I find that is just really encouraging. And then writing down what you want to go well today is also really great. So you've got to do what works for you. Sometimes people just wake up and go exercise, and then they'll do a meditation, or some people wake up and just spend time with their kids and then go for a walk. Like, you've got to do what works for you. So the hour of power is the time where you set yourself up before you let the world kind of decide for you, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I guess it's you making a decision to not look at your phone, not touch social media. It's how you start your day is how you're going to end your day.
Join us tomorrow to hear more from today's incredible guests and learn valuable insights to help you lead your own way. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you then.